Hey, what's up, everyone? You are listening or watching the My Comic Book Journey podcast. I'm your host, Kennedy, and we shall go back to December 1986 with Hero Alliance, end of the Golden Age graphic novel, which came out from Pied Piper Graphics. And this one was created by Kevin Juaire, written by Kevin Juaire and David Campiti. Illustrators were Ronald and Michael Witherby, assisted by Bart, Sears, and Rick J. Bryant. Lettered by Bill Oakley, colored by Marcus David, and edited by Roger McKenzie. By the way, I don't know if I got the creator right. Kevin Juaire, or Wire, not sure. So hopefully, I apologize if I butchered the name. But if you could see here, back then, man, $6.95. Why so expensive for 1986? Well, for one, it was made in special paper. Featured, it was well colored. It's actually, I think it was just the paper stock that they used back then, and it was also a probably you could say that it's like two comic books in a almost like a magazine style format. It's pretty big. But I don't know if a lot of people own this one. For one, Pied Piper, unless you were into independent comics, some people may have not picked it up because of that or because of its cover. Cover is a little bit different from the artwork that you see inside. The artwork you see inside is actually pretty nice. This painted one, I don't know. The superhero in front looks like he's in pain or constipated, while the other one looks like they're in deep shock. What the hell is going on? So, it's a superhero book. But before I go on, let's explain what Pied Piper was. So, Hero Alliance was a popular comic book series that was released by Innovation Comics. It had a history of first being released, the first two issues from Sears Comics, which I never saw or heard. It may have not ever been solicited, but supposedly then the two issues that were released were combined to make this graphic novel from Pied Piper Comics. And then the comic book would then be published by Wonder Comics, and then after that, Innovation. And I think it ended right there. I think there was a lot of promise, a lot of potential with this. Hero Alliance was like, what if you combined the superhero aspect and the adult aspect? I guess going back during those years, if you were a animation or comic book fan or so, what did you think about animation like Heavy Metal that combined the action, the R-rated type of style that was a little bit audacious for its time? Now, not so much. Anything goes, especially if you enjoy a Savage Dragon. But back then, yeah, it was a very interesting time in comic books. In 1986, you had Marvel and DC, which comic books were still made for children. And then you had something like Hero Alliance, which didn't feature so much of... There was nothing... I mean, it had violence. It had sexual innuendo and women that are scantily clad. But it really didn't go too far. Well, for this graphic novel, that is. So this issue right here is the one you want to find first, because I will tell you that this issue features wonderful art, and there was a storyline that felt it was... You knew by the end what this superhero book is about. It's about the founding of a new superhero team. When you go to the Innovation Comics, issue number 1 and 2, it's like that, but the art seemed like it changed a bit. The colorization was much different, and they added more. There were some changes made, more story, to make a, to separate into different comic books. But this one, everything is condensed as one, and I actually like this graphic novel here. It pretty much gets to the story and pretty much explains everything that Hero Alliance is pretty much what it's about. And what you have here is it focuses around Victor. Think of him like Superman. So he was part of a superhero group known as the Guardsmen, and the Guardsmen was his role model, and the person that got him into that group was the Golden Guardsmen. And throughout time, as people got older or so, the superhero group, some of them got killed, some of them just quit, and the Golden Guardsmen just disappeared, leaving Victor by himself. Now, Victor has a lot of superhero powers. Some could say that he's like Superman, Shazam, all that and more. And he could also shapeshift and do all these other things. So it's kind of hard to know what his actual powers are. They tend to keep it secret, but they just know that he is super powerful. Okay. Now, as through generations, because he's quite old, but I guess you could say with the shapeshifting, he could make himself look young. He's had many superheroes in his group, but he pretty much gave up. I mean, he has his own companies. He's very popular. I mean, when he shapeshifts to a different Victor, that is. But as a superhero, it's not like the old days, and he knows that. So we go to the other side where you see the Golden Guardsman. He is now elderly and dying, and his daughters, Chris and son Mark, are arguing about the finances because of his passing. His son Mark wants to reveal to the world that he is the Guardsman that is dying, and hoping that by saying that the hospital would bypass any fees or medical debt because he was such a big hero. But his sister said no. Their father's dying wish was to keep everything secret and private. Well, the Guardian Guardsman's son, Mark, ends up trying to rob the company of his uncle, who owns a lot of the licensing for the Guardian, for the Golden Guardian. And Mark shows that he also has power and kills the uncle and steals the Golden Guardian's helmet to become a supervillain. He goes to visit his sister, Chris, knocks her down, and just to show that, because when they were growing up, they would always fight and learn fighting techniques from their father, and she would always get the best of her younger brother. But now her younger brother says no more, and gives her a black eye. So, fearing that something bad is going to happen to her brother, she could only go to one person that she hopes that can help him, and that's Victor. Meanwhile, across the city, there are people who may be heroes or may be villains. And this leads to Victor going around and looking at who could be the next member of his upcoming superhero team, because he knows that the world needs it. At the same time, Mark, donning his father's helmet, continues his killing spree, and he's just a bad guy overall. And his sister manages to find Victor, and you know, she just hopes that he could. She shows him that she has powers also, but of how her brother now has the has a helmet, and they know they need to stop him. The story also introduces other characters, and some of them who are potentially heroes, and some who are just villains, and you just wondered, what was the purpose in this comic book graphic novel? What is their purpose? And it's more of introductory, because I would imagine that this is just giving us a glimpse on the unperfect or imperfect superhero lineup that Victor is trying to put together. So I found that very interesting. But I think, if anything, the Hero Alliance, it's more of, I think the reason why Victor has been disenchanted is because as he lost his original friends from the Guardsmen and having newer members, and so last time he had a super group, he didn't give them communicators or anything, and they were attacked by Sepulchre. He pretty much is a murderer that destroyed the last Guardian team. So this is something that I find very, very fascinating, and it's actually interesting comic book, because again, it's like a adult version of a superhero comic, and I don't mean adult as in like you know you know what I mean. I think this one is more mature in the fact that, because you see, it was a product of its time, of women, dressed in kinky outfits, and women who are wearing outfits like as if they were not wearing a bra or anything like that. And I think you know what I mean by that. I mean, the cover, you can see it already. But that was the style of Hero Alliance, and sex sells, I suppose, and I think that's what they were probably going for. But still, I think they still managed to keep it safe for people to read, kids to read, because there is no profanity in this graphic novel. If anything, there's more sexual innuendo, but that's the most you'll get. But later issues, I guess we'll see, because I have a lot of Innovation Comics issues of the Hero Alliance that I still have yet to read. But I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it because it was very different from what you read from Justice League or Avengers. This is a group of heroes that are just not... Some of them may have mental health issues, and some of them they just seem off. And so I think that's what makes Hero Alliance interesting. Superheroes that they have some skeletons in their closet, I guess you could say, and something that they're hiding. And I think in different issues you'll probably learn more from that. But this is just focusing on the Pied Piper graphic novel. Whatever you read in here is self-condensed, so if you just get this one, it's all you need. But if you want to know more of what happens with Hero Alliance, then you're going to have to track down those Innovation Comics. But for the most part, it's a very good issue. Again, on quality paper, well colored, and that probably is the reason why it cost so much at almost $7 at the time. Okay, everyone, you take care, and I will see you later. Wink, wink, and see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.